Hey, hello, hello. How are you, Lisa? Hey, yo, Chris, Luke, how you doing? What's up? So I hope this works this time. Can you hear me well? Can you see my screen? Good this time. Well, yeah, I know. Uh, these are the times where I feel old. But well, after a few tutorials and some help from Jack and my daughter, here we are. All right, so let's get started, guys. Today was kind of a weird day, right? Because we went uh, from low of the day to high of the day, and back to low of the day again, and then we dropped like a rock. So it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird, but I mean that's kind of expected if you go back to your chart and you start looking for days where we gap up like this heavy. Because I mean last night we gap up with no reason. I mean, I understand we had Tesla earnings, and yes, for some reason Tesla started ripping like crazy, and they miss everything, right? Like they miss revenue, they miss sales, they miss everything. So uh it's a weird thing. Just I don't know. I mean, the good thing about our strategy is that we don't need to understand like all the fundamentals of investing. I mean, we don't need to read the like the financial statements of the companies and try to get to do some guesswork. I mean, we just need to wait and patiently react to key levels. That's the beauty of this strategy. So let's get started with the Apple. If in Apple, I mean I did some research before starting this session. So let me let me tell you what I was looking at in Apple. So just as I said, we started like in a downtrend, or going to the downside, and then we got this candle, and I I still don't know what this candle was. I mean, I was looking in Twitter and I was looking at the news sites, and I mean, I didn't get this candle. However, there it is. So we had this huge green candle on both indices and on most of the tech names. So we had this, and let me move this around. All right, let me move this around. All right, sorry, sorry about that. All right. So we got this. So from low of the day to high of the day, and next candle again to low of the day, and a few candles later again to high of the day. So what I was actually looking here was the reaction of my tech names with the indices. So the first thing that I saw here was this kind of break, displacement, and retest of the opening price, right? So this is the very edge of the opening gap. I'm sorry, from the daily gap. So the daily gap is the difference between yesterday close and today's open, and that's different than a gap on the daily chart. All right, so just trying to explain a bit the difference. So the daily gap, it's the difference between the yesterday close and today's open, but the gaps on the daily chart are these gaps between the whole candle on the daily chart. So all right, so now with the clarification, so I want you to take a look to this. So this dotted or this dash line, it's the opening price. This is the edge of the daily gap. So we got this break displacement and retest, and you will say, hey Neto, I mean, a few candles before we got a retest, but what was happening here on both indices? So they were rejecting high of the day, and also on QQQ we were rejecting this 462.38. That's a key level on the daily chart. So we were rejecting this. So this retest, I didn't like it. Why? Because of the context, right? Because we are on high of the day on the indices, and we are kind of retesting something on my chart. So I didn't like it. However, a few candles later, we got this new retest here. But what was happening on the indices? Well, QQQ was retesting and bouncing out from the 5-minute opening range, and SPY didn't retest the 5-minute opening range, but it was close, right? So we got this bounce out of the here, this bounce out of the 5-minute opening range on QQQ. So now I trust this move. Why? Because now we got this bounce from the 5-minute opening range on the Qs. We are expecting some sort of continuation to the upside, and that movement on the indices should be pulling my tech name. So let's say that you open your position here on this green candle right above the previous candle to the retest. So we have our risk at the bottom of this candle, that the one that retested, or even better, let's say that we have at the bottom of the first candle that actually broke our key level. So if we have this somewhere around here. So if we have this one and you were aiming to high of the day, well, after a few candles, you got it, right? So the bad news is, this was a very weird candle. We got it on the indices, and it reflected on all of the tech names. However, you should be able to to withdraw something or sold some of your contracts around high of the day, because remember, at least that's my case when I'm looking to sell some of my contracts. I mean, I'm looking for reaction, yes, at high of the day, but sometimes, I mean, it's just like somewhere around high of the day, right? And a good spot to do it, it's on the body of the candles on high of the day. So even when this is not the 1-to-2 risk reward ratio trade, I mean, this is a level that you should be trying to look for something. Austin, you have a lot of levels marked. Do you have your own levels? Yeah, well, it's not. Let me, like, this is a good question. Let me try to explain what are all these lines. All right, it's gonna be easier if I do it like this. So I have this tool that draws all the intraday key levels. So these purple lines are the 1 minute and the 5-minute opening range. This light blue, solid light blue line is the pre-market high, and if we go lower, this dotted light blue is the pre-market low. These bright blue lines are my levels on the daily chart, and the white lines are my levels on the 15-minute chart. Usually we have these yellow lines with the previous day high and previous day low. Yeah, previous day low. And this tool also marks the daily gaps, right? Okay, so yeah, hope this is clear. But that was a nice question. I mean, yeah, sometimes it looks like I have like a bunch of lines, but usually these are my charts, right? So they are key levels on the daily chart, and those are the blue ones. And there are some key levels on the 15-minute chart. Those are the white ones. So this is my usual chart, right? But this is the one to explain and compare. All right. So okay, so we had, we were saying we had this break, displacement, and retest of the opening price, and also we were also retesting the 5-minute opening range on the QQQ. So if we got this, I mean, maybe we got break even or a small loss here. Because this was too fast. I understand that this was too fast. Also, this candle, it happened too fast. I mean, to react. I actually have an open position here. I mean, even me that I feel like I'm experienced and I have good skills to execute my orders. This was actually too fast for me. So I mean, I don't blame you if you didn't sell some of your contracts here. However, we got another opportunity here. So we got the same retest of the level, and this could be something like the 84% rule. Actually, it's the 84% rule because we never created a new low or something. So this is, as you can see, this is the very same entry level. We were aiming to the same high of the day, previous high of the day, or so this was a 1 to 2.1 risk reward ratio trade. However, this was an easy trade. But why? Because again, we were retesting and bouncing out of our pre-market high on the indices. This is 541. This is the pre-market high, and also it was 458.75 on QQQ, right? So as you can see, we were retesting both the 5-minute, 1-minute opening range, the pre-market high. So once we bounced from there, this was, look at this. I mean, this was a nice opportunity here. So actually, if I mean, I was saying that this was kind of an 84% rule, but actually, I mean, if you were paying attention to these levels, probably you got your enter like here. No, okay, yeah, probably you were just waiting for this green candle to be above these two red candles, right? So if you got this was a 1 to 2.7 risk reward ratio trade, and as you can see here, I mean, even if you were aiming to high of the day, I mean, there was no price action to say like, okay, well, I should wait, I should sell something. So probably you sold everything like here, right? Like on these candles. So this was a nice trade. And the other side of the coin, this is out of my trading hours. This is out of my trading hours, guys. However, I wanted to show you because sometimes people ask me like, hey, Neto, so the break and retest doesn't work out of the 9:30, 11 in the morning? And yes, it does. I mean, it works on any time. The thing is that we prefer that time of the day because of the momentum, because of how the volume on the volume of the operation. So it's kind of easier, faster. But I mean, yes, we do have different opportunities during the day. So let's talk about this. So this is 11:40 in the morning. So that's why I told you this is kind of out of my trading hours. However, look at this. This is a super nice and clear and lean break, displacement, and retest of the 5-minute opening range. But it's not just the 5-minute opening range. I want you to take a look to what was happening on the indices. So as you can see on QQQ right here, we broke half displacement and then retested what again? The opening price. So this is the edge of the daily gap. This is the edge of the daily gap. So once we had this retest and rejection of this key level, you can see the candles here. So this was a nice opportunity to the downside on most of the names. You will see I got these circles here for your reference because it's going to be easier to spot the key levels on the indices. So you will see. So here, let's say that you waited for 1-2 candles until you were below this retesting candle. So you opened your short position here. You had your risk at the very top of this wick, or this is the 5-minute opening range, and you were aiming to this 203.51. This 203.51, it's a key level on the daily chart. All right. So if you were aiming here, it was a 2.5 risk reward ratio trade. However, look at this, the price action right here at the key level, you had no stop until here. So probably your trade was more like a 1-3 risk reward ratio trade instead of a 1-2.5. But yes, I mean, even here, I mean, it was unfortunate because we got these candles to the upside, and yeah, well, this was the very bottom of the movement. This is where the reversal started. But look at this. I mean, this is kind of easy to spot. Right here at 12:30, this candle is actually the change of character on the 1 minute. Can you see here, guys? So this is kind of a higher high, right? After this kind of pullbacks, this is a new higher high, higher low, and then we had our market structure to the upside. So I hope you spot one of these opportunities here on Apple, and let's go to the next one. Just let me take a look to the chat. Which tool is it that you use for levels? Is it free? It's not free. It's almost free. I think it's like $3 a month or something like that. So it's very convenient. Yes, you can find free tools, and maybe you should just mix some of them. But this does everything that I needed, and it's developed by one of the members of the community. So if you can just look for Mina on the Discord community, and he will send you an invite, because this tool was developed for the break and retest strategy. So this is very convenient for me. All right, so let's go to the next one. The next one is AMD. So I got, well, what is this yellow box on AMD? Let me show you here. This was, and I say was because I mean, today we almost feel this was a daily gap. Well, this was a gap on the daily chart. That's better say. So let's change this to here, so we can see better. All right. So okay. So now we have AMD. So AMD was super bullish since the pre-market, but just as everything, right? So we opened, we came to high of the day, 2 candles, low of the day, next candle, high of the day, 2 candles more, we were retesting the pre-market high. So today was kind of messy, guys. So if you did something, I mean, if you were not reading the market clearly today, I mean, it's not your fault. Today was a weird day. Don't worry about that. You got this. It was just today. Today was, I mean, today was hard to write. So we got this. So we got this break, displacement, and retest of the pre-market high. So can you see this blue line? This is the pre-market high. So we got this break, displacement, and retest right here. And can you see these long wicks are what we call strong price action, buyers stepping in, but also what was happening on the indices. Both indices were retesting the pre-market high. So is this a good confluence? Is this a good confluence? Yes, it is. So let's say that you waited for the next candle to confirm the movement. So you opened your position here. You had your risk at the bottom of this candle, and you were aiming probably to this 93.45. This is a key level on the daily chart, and if you were aiming to this, it was a 122.17 risk reward ratio trade. However, as you saw, I mean, we were expecting for the gap to be filled, right? I mean, it was a super huge move, so probably it's not gonna happen just today. But if you were aiming to this key level on the daily chart, I mean, this was a 122.17 risk reward ratio trade, and we got a few opportunities to trim your position here. So this was a nice trade. This was a nice trade. Hey Neto, I missed this opportunity. So what happened to the later in the day? So we had this break, displacement, and retest of these two levels. So this is the 1 minute opening range, this 92.35, and this is the 5 minute opening range, this 92.65. So let's say that you waited for this break, displacement, retest here. What was happening on the indices? Again, they were, well, at least QQQ was retesting the 5 minute opening range. You can see on the circle there. Can you see? Can you guys see on the circle? Can you type on the chat if you can see this reaction on the circle? It's the same time than the retest on AMD. So okay, so let's say that you take your position here, right on the next candle confirming the direction of the movement. You have your risk at the bottom of these candles, and you were aiming to this key level. Let's say something like this, and you were aiming to the same key level here. It was a 1-2 risk reward ratio trade. But I'm not gonna lie, probably you didn't take anything here because again, this was a super weird candle. This take a look to this candle on the indices, right? Like it swiped high of the day and almost low of the day, or at least the opening ranges. So if you didn't take anything here, probably you got scared on the next candles. But I mean, at least you should be able to take something here. I know this is not ideal because you were at least looking for a 1-2 risk reward ratio trade. But yeah, I mean, this is where the flexibility and adaptability on your execution and your strategy needs to kick in, right? Because I mean, if you were stopped here, I mean, you were not expecting, I mean, you are not doing what we do in the community. We try to wait for the candle to close, and this is one of the best and perfect examples on how that strategy works, right? If you were stopped here, I mean, you miss all this movement to the upside, and you I mean, you close it because you were scared, because there was not a single candle closing, not even close of the stop loss level. So, but I understand if you close it. I mean, this happened too fast. All right, so that was everything for AMD. Later in the day, I spotted this one. Again. This was 11:42. This is super out of my trading window. However, let me show you the confluences here. So here we have this break, displacement, and retest of what? Low of the day, very close to the 5 minute opening range. So we got this retest right here. And what was happening on the indices? All right, so we were rejecting the opening price or the edge of the daily gap on QQQ, and we were very close on SPY, right? Actually, well, I mean, if you are super technical here, probably, yeah, this is a retest of low of the day. So we got the same price action here. So the break, displacement, and retest of the low of the day, and a also, well, QQQ was a bit different, but kind of the same thing, right? So we were retesting the edge of the daily gap on QQQ. We were retesting low of the day on SPY. We were retesting low of the day on AMD. So if you were opening your position here, maybe on the second candle, confirming the movement or the weakness on AMD, you were setting your risk above these candles here, that the ones that retested the key level, and you were aiming to this 90.47 key level on the daily chart. So this was actually a nice one. This is a 1 to 3.8 risk reward ratio trade. And if you were, yeah, I mean, if you were aiming to 90.50, that's kind of a round number, but the year was very close to this key level on the daily chart, right? So this is a 1 to 3.8 risk reward ratio trade, and as you can see, I mean it was like 10 minutes on, yeah, like it's 11:43, yeah, like 10 minutes on the trade, and this is a 1 to 3.8 risk reward ratio trade. So this was a nice one, right? And again, even if you were not that fast to sell your position here, you should be able to sell something at low of the day. Can you see low of the day right here at the bodies? It's 1 to 2.7, so this is a super decent trade. And also, if you were aiming to this key level, it was a 1 to 3.8 risk reward ratio trade. So both of them were solid trades. Again, this is out of my trading time. I was actually in a session on Traders Lab, so I mean this is why I just didn't take it, right? Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so here, all right. So we have this break, displacement. Can you see here, guys? I mean, someone asked me on the Discord, like, hey, Neto, why didn't you take this retest? Well, can you see there was no reaction here in the 5-minute opening range? I mean, this candle just crossed that level and didn't, actually, it didn't hesitate or stop there. So it just crossed to the downside, and yes, we got some sort of reaction here, so we tried again to the upside, but then we came back, and as you can see, this is kind of the same movement than the indices. Again, at the very beginning, this is a bit stronger than the indices, then it's kind of the same thing, but then it looks weaker than the indices, but here we are. So here we are retesting the 1-minute opening range, and what do you know? We are retesting pre-market high on SPY, and we are retesting, well, actually I will consider this a retest of the pre-market high on QQQ. So here we are having the exact same price action than the indices, so I will trust here. If the indices are telling me to go to the upside, I will take this trade here, right at this candle, showing some strength, some buyers stepping in. So let's say you open your position here and you were having your risk to the bottom of these retesting candles, or maybe this pre-market high, and you were aiming to the high of the day. Well, this is a 1 to 2.24 risk reward ratio trade. However, as you can see, these candles are not having a down close candle. So maybe you got something like this, right? So this is a 1 to 2.45 risk reward ratio trade, and this is what I got. This is what I got, but I like Amazon, as you know. I think it owes me because all that my wife and daughters spent there. So that's a name that I trade a lot. All right, and later in the day, so this is the same spot, guys. So this is 11:40, 11:45. So we got this break, displacement, and retest of the opening price, the edge of the daily gap. So again, we got this retest, and then when this candle is showing me weakness and it's below the first retesting candle, I open my position here. This is a short position. My risk is at the top of these wicks, and I was aiming to 182. So 182, it's a 1 to 2.60 something, 1 to 2.7 risk reward ratio trade. And the coincidences or the confluences with the indices is, first, this name Amazon is going on the same direction than the indices, and also it's reacting kind of the same place, right? Can you see where is QQQ reacting? Can you see what is SPY doing here? So it's reacting at low of the day. QQQ was reacting at the opening price. So all of this is that's why I push you a lot this idea of the context, right? I mean, yes, you can trade intraday price action of your tech name without looking to anything else, but if you are looking to the indices and you are trading on the same direction than the indices, this can help you a lot to your confidence and to your win rate, because this is giving you like a better chances on your trades. All right. Okay, so let's go to the next one, Nvidia. All right, so what happened with Nvidia? Okay, so we got a lot of choppiness at the very beginning. Can you see this is kind of a barcode pattern, just going up and back, going up and down, going up and down. But then we broke down at 952. So 952 we broke down. Let's ignore this candle because again this is the news candle that I don't like it. I mean, you cannot discard a candle, but you can, you know, like pay less attention to it, something like that, because it's all volatility, right? I mean, because as you can see, this candle was kind of neutral everywhere. Like here, I mean, it opened and closed almost on the same price for a difference of some cents, and the same thing in SPY and QQQ. So let's ignore this candle and let's go to this candle. So we have this break, displacement, and retest of the 5-minute opening range. So I don't like the context, because here it's rejecting the key level on SPY, and it's rejecting the previous high of the day on QQQ. Yeah, so yes, it's rejecting kind of the top of the range. And here, because this was weaker than the indices, I mean, it just drops, right? Like it starts dropping on the same direction here. So if you open your position here and you have your risk at the above these wicks or these candles, and you were aiming to a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, maybe this 103, well, 103 it's not there, but I mean, if you were aiming just to a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, you got it like in the next 3 or 4 candles. So this is a very decent trade. I mean, you could actually got a 1 to 2.5 risk reward ratio trade. You should be aiming at least to low of the day, right? But I mean, you never got it. However, if you are just playing with the risk reward, I mean, at least you could have a 1 to 2.5 risk reward rate to trade. But I just think that Nvidia was not playing nicely here. Not playing nicely here. So as you can see, we got, after this movement, we kind of paired the indices, the indices price action. So we went to high of the day on both indices and also on Nvidia, and then we started dropping just as the indices. All right. So the next kind of opportunity here is this break, displacement, and retest of the 1 minute opening range. So this is the 1 minute opening range. And what was happening on the indices? Again, they were rejecting the pre-market high. They were rejecting the almost low of the day. So, or at least they were rejecting here the range of the 5 minute opening range. So again, this is not in line with the movement of the indices. I mean, it's on the same direction, but it's not in line with the price action on key levels. So here we are on kind, like it just moved differently. Not sure if you guys are following me on my reasoning on why I didn't like these trades. However, well, I mean, I'm just showing you. So we got this break, displacement, and retest of the 1 minute opening range. And if you waited, look at this. I mean, if you waited for this huge candle as a confirmation of the move, and you have your risk all the way up to the 1 minute opening range, and you were aiming to low of the day, this is actually a 1 to 2 risk reward rate to trade. So I just want to show you that yes, they are. You can find different opportunities during the day, even if it's not on our community usual regular trading hours. But yes, I mean, you can find a lot of opportunities later in the day. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Tesla. I didn't want to take any Tesla trade because, I mean, we got the earnings call yesterday for Tesla. They missed every number expected, but the price just, look at this. I don't know why, but I mean, I'm not trying to understand. So I just want to, try to trade it under my strategy criteria. So I'm done trying to understand Tesla investors, and I really like Tesla. I'm a Tesla shareholder, and I have a Tesla. I have two Teslas actually. So I mean, I really love the company, but it's just I don't get what's going on with the Tesla investors' mind. All right, so for me, the only opportunity here in line with what we do, that is, like trying to trade in the same direction, was this. So this is the break, displacement, and retest of the 5 minute opening range. So we got this retest here, and I love these long wicks. But what was happening on the indices? So okay, so SPY was retesting the 1 minute opening range, and QQQ was retesting the 5 minute opening range. So I can kind of trust this movement here. So you open your position here, you have your risk at the very bottom of these wicks or this 5 minute opening range, and you were aiming to this key level 258.75 key level on the daily chart. A little bit more. This is a 1 to 2 risk reward rate to trade. The problem with this is, look at these reactions here. So sometimes, I mean, when you are trading these kind of ranges, I mean, after one movement like this, I mean, you need to be ready with your finger on the trigger, right? So this was kind of hard to get. anyways, I mean, you had a few opportunities to trim your position here, and if you were aiming to a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, I mean, you probably have didn't have your risk all the way down to here. Maybe you were setting your risk on this candle, but at least it should be like here on the 5 minute range, on the 5 minute opening range. So if you were aiming to this 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade, yes, I mean, you could get a good portion of your contracts right here. All right, and let's go to Microsoft. All right, this is another name that I have been monitoring the options pricing in Microsoft. This is something that I probably won't take because the spread in the one out of the money or at the money contracts, they have like 15 cents spread. I think that's just too much of it. But what I have seen is that it has, I mean, when it moves, it moves well. So let me show you this one. So here we had this the same sort of reactions on Microsoft, these huge candles, then this indecisive candle. But take a look to these candles on the indices and how it was on Microsoft. It was a smaller reaction, so just different, right? And okay, so you could have two different entries here, all right? So this one at 955, I mean, we are retesting the pre-market low, pre-market high. So what was happening on the indices? Well, QQQ was bouncing out of the 5 minute opening range, and SPY was kind of close to it, but didn't touch it. So if you were trying to do something like this, I mean, I don't like it because you should be having to set something like this, right? Like a good reaction here. But if you got it where I had it, this is different because we have this break, displacement, and retest here, and here we are having a nice reaction, right? We are having a nice reaction here, long wicks, strong price action on this key level. So we are retesting nicely this pre-market high, but what was happening on both indices? Again, we were reacting to the pre-market high. We were retesting the pre-market high on both indices. So now this is the movement that I can trust, right? So I can open my position here on this candle or the next one. Yeah, and you have your risk at the very bottom of this week, and you were aiming to high of the day. This is high of the day. So this is a 1 to 2.9 risk reward ratio trade. So this was a nice trade. However, just as I told you, the contract prices on Microsoft are just too wide. I mean, 15 cents of difference between the bid and the ask is just too much. It's just too much for me. So let me know, guys, if someone on the community trades Microsoft. So I will keep it here. But if you don't trade Microsoft, probably I'm gonna just switch to Palantir or some other some other micro name that, because I have seen and I have read that there's a lot of people trading Palantir in the community. So maybe we can switch from Microsoft to Palantir, or maybe Netflix, or some of the names that are easier to trade. And when I say easier, it's not because of the price action, that it's actually nice on, for example, on Palantir on Netflix, but because of the contracts pricing. All right, dudes, he said, let's go to Palantir. Well, let's give it a try. All right. So what do we see here on Palantir? Well, I mean, I don't have any key levels on the higher time frames, but I can see this nice break, displacement, and retest of the pre-market high. This is this light blue line. This is the pre-market high, and what was happening on the indices? Well, here they were retesting the 5-minute opening range on both of them. So let's say that you open your position here and you have your risk at the bottom of these candles, and you were aiming at least high of the day. Well, high of the day was 2.68 risk reward ratio trade. However, look at this. I mean, you probably you have at least this one. So, dudes, what did you do on Palantir? Did you take something on Palantir? Uh, yeah, this was a nice one. Yeah. So what did you take, dudes? I mean, did you take this break and retest of the pre-market high, or something different? Because if you are too technical here, probably you take something like this: break, displacement, and retest of this order block. So this was a nice one. Actually, this was a nice one. And what was happening on the indices? Again, retest of the pre-market high. So this is actually a nice trade. So let's say that you are taking something like this. Your risk is at the very bottom of this order block, and you were aiming to a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio trade. Let's say 102.50 because it's the strike. Well, this is a nice second opportunity here, right? So this is the order block on the previous high of the day. So we had this break, displacement, and retest here, and this at the very same time than the retest of the pre-market high, 1 minute opening range on both indices. This was a nice trade also. All right, so this 932. 932, like the second candle. 932. And got out at 938. Alright. So it's 1032. 1032 and 238. What were you trying, my friend? So you enter in this consolidation? Dominic, 100 key level. Yeah, well, this 100 key level is this pre-market high. Yeah, so this is a nice opportunity here. As you can see, I mean, both indices were kind of rejecting or bouncing out of the 5-minute opening range. But this second entry is solid, right? Because it's the order block created on the previous high of the day. And we had this impulsive candle displacement retest, and then we have another impulsive candle here. So I like both entries here. So okay, 932, and then you got out down 938. Well, that's a nice one. That's a nice one, but that was not a break and retest of anything, right? At least not on my books, right? There's nothing here that says break, displacement, and retest. All right, guys. So this was the new attempt to have live tradings on YouTube. I hope you enjoy it. I hope the audio and the video and the screen sharing was okay. Let me know on the comments if we need to improve something other than my accent and my language. But thank you very much for joining. Probably if this worked for you, it's gonna be here starting today. So I will be sending the YouTube link on the regular Discord channels, and you can. I will share the recording there, but you can actually take a look to all of the trade reviews. And I will start creating some content for you guys on the channel. So if you want to subscribe, probably I'll take some years before having a few of the same subscribers than Tony and Jack have. But anyways, I mean, that's going to be my start. So thank you very much, guys. And I'll see you later. Bye.